Trevor Lawrence isn't QB1. Hi, I'm Dash, and that's my truth.
Lance with all sorts of time. The rocket arm is unleashed downfield.
You cannot throw the football any better than this.
Wilson has Mahomes and Rodgers-ish type qualities about his game.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
A freak athlete, crazy fast, and just stresses the defense.
The Jacksonville Jaguars select
Justin Fields, quarterback, The Ohio State University. First, I want to preface that I was only able to evaluate the 5 quarterbacks at the bottom of your screen. And second, this is what I would do if I were given the keys to the franchise for the next 10 years and I was chosen to pick the quarterback that I'd want. Also, just understand that I'm not in these interviews. I'm not in their quarterback rooms, so I can't really speak to the character behind these quarterbacks. And so my evaluations and what you're about to see is solely based on film. Now, let's get it underway. Now, as seen earlier in the video, Justin Fields is quarterback 1. These are some stats. I was told in an earlier video to use more advanced stats, which are these. If you have any questions, just feel free to look them up. Throughout the video, I will be popping up these stats for each individual quarterback. And because college does not do EPA anymore, that is a comparison. So Tua is a comparison to Justin Fields' EPA. So after watching Justin Fields' games, which included his better games and included his worst games, like Northwestern or Indiana, I came across with this belief that Justin Fields is the best quarterback in this class. He's able to make throws that other quarterbacks can't. He is the most athletic player on the field at all times, regardless of competition. He plays the better competition, and he's just a playmaker. And then there's this whole narrative where he can't get through reads. It's wrong. It is wrong. So against a very good defense in Alabama in the championship game, we have a mesh from the number 2 receiver at the top of your screen and the tight end. We have an in from the number 1 receiver at the top of your screen with an outside break. We have a running back wheel, and then the receiver at the bottom of your screen just is told to find space behind the linebackers who are dropping into coverage and the safeties who are dropping into coverage. And as you can see, Justin Fields has very little difficulty progressing through his reads, understanding and reading the defense, and ultimately finding the wide receiver who found an open space in the defense for a good amount of yardage. From the back end here, you can also see him progressing through his reads using the line on his helmet, as well as very good footwork. And Justin Fields also displays a love for the game that I don't see in other prospects. He's the first person there to pick up his wide receivers when they get hit hard. He's the first person to run 40 yards and block if it means getting a touchdown. And also, we just can't deny his effort and his perseverance in the National Football Playoff semifinals, where practically on one leg, he led his team over my number 2 quarterback on this list, Trevor Lawrence. So I'm not going to go into much detail about why I think Trevor Lawrence is QB2. I went into detail at length about him and his game previously in another video, which I will put the link to the video in the bio down below. But I recommend you go back and watch, and because I cast some doubt on the typical Trevor Lawrence pros or what Trevor Lawrence does better than other quarterbacks. So just give it a look and then come back, because I don't think Trevor Lawrence is generational, and evidently I don't think he's QB1 either. My QB3 is none other than Zach Wilson, most likely the future Jet. And I know some people who have him as QB1. I know a lot of people who have him as QB2. And I understand that. And I came across his tape and I understood that playmaker ability of his. But nothing stood out to me more than his anticipation. So in this play, similar to the play we looked at earlier, we have a mesh concept with the number 2 receiver and the tight end in the 3-point stance, a curl or hitch with the tight end in the 2-point stance, a running back wheel, but I want you to focus on the out at the bottom of the screen from the number 1 receiver. This video just shows what happens all throughout his tape. Zach Wilson's anticipation is next level. He is able to throw, as can be seen, before his receiver is even out of his break. More impressive, he throws over one defender in front of another defender from the opposite hash. Sometimes Zach Wilson's anticipation is next level and makes his game that much better. But also sometimes he over-anticipates. He reads one receiver the whole time expecting him to get open, missing other wide-open receivers in the process. And there is the element of competition that comes into play when evaluating Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson's stats don't replicate it, but Zach Wilson did benefit off of inferior competition. There were many times where Zach Wilson tried to play hero ball. Zach Wilson did too much because he knew that his competition wasn't the best. And I fear that transition to the NFL where he's going to throw up some balls that would fall harmlessly in the BYU games, but wouldn't cut it in an NFL level. My QB4 is not Trey Lance. It's Mac Jones, actually. And the reason for this is because if I were building a franchise, he and his intelligence, his NFL preparedness would be something I'd value now and for the next 10 years. I know when I draft him that I'm not getting an all-pro MVP. But I do know that I'm not getting someone who will lose me games at the quarterback position. And just knowing the amount of burnout that happens at the quarterback position, how difficult it is to find that franchise guy that will lead you, or not even lead you to victory, but will stray you from loss, that is Mac Jones, and that's why I pick him. This specific play design doesn't have much meaning because Mac Jones and his wide receivers go into a scramble drill when the Georgia defense has everything covered. While Mac Jones' lack of athleticism is a constant source of criticism, in this specific play, Jones backtracks and backpedals to avoid pressure and then fires a beam, a dart, to a covered man, actually throwing his receiver open. If I was the coach of Mac Jones, there's a lot I like. I like that he has a very fast mental processor. I like that he can read a defense. And I like that he's accurate in small locations and small places. However, there are a few things that I don't like. And these don't likes limit his ceiling. He's not the strongest person in the world. He won't be able to make every throw. He won't be able to make every throw consistently. He's not the most athletic person in the world. He won't be able to go for 20-yard runs when a defensive end is bearing down on him. But he adapts. He throws to his checkdowns. He throws it away. And he is very accurate in the short game. And I would work with that to succeed. However, Mac Jones cannot be any higher than my QB4 because even with Mac Jones' full potential, his ceiling does not scratch the surface of those of Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, and Zach Wilson. Using process of elimination, you can find that my QB5, my 5th best quarterback in this 2021 draft class, is Trey Lance. Listen, in 10 years, Trey Lance might be the best quarterback in this draft class. He has the strongest arm. He can really run the ball. He is a tough, big man. But his accuracy scares me. All throughout his college career, which was only one season, he relied on being the most athletic player on his field, a D2 field. He'd run it more than 1 out of every 3 plays, and he would do it successfully because he was playing plumbers. Trey Lance may very well be the best quarterback in this draft class, but he is not accurate. His accuracy scares me. Open passes, easy passes, go aloof. His footwork concerns me. And I know there's this whole wave in the NFL. Oh, you can teach accuracy because we have Josh Allen. Josh Allen is one person. Will you, if you're the head of a franchise, risk it all on Trey Lance? Josh Allen required time. Josh Allen might possibly be an outlier. You cannot risk that. I don't understand it. And here is what you get if you risk it. If you risk it and succeed, which I think has a much lower chance than risking it and failing, you have a very good quarterback. But if you don't succeed, you have to restart everything. Your organization, your front office, your quarterback, your coaches. And just a little thing, because everyone says, oh, why don't we just sit him? Trey Lance hasn't played in a year. He's only played a year of football in college. If you don't sit him and get him that necessary experience, he doesn't have essential game experience. It's a dilemma. Trey Lance is my QB5 until I see otherwise, until he can prove to me that he can use all that potential to help win his team games. And I'm not calling him Josh Allen yet. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.